With YouTube demonetizing independent media, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo, and this is $3 Theater. And now, look, this is rumors and leaks. Okay, so X-Men Dark Phoenix rumors surface online. Take it with a grain of salt. This could be real, could be fake, but if it's true, oh boy, oh man. Simon Kinberg is not going to do well at Disney. That's all I'm going to say about that. Especially if these are true. So spoilers abound. We're going in hard. We're going in deep, and we'll see what we find. So it says a batch of X-Men Dark Phoenix rumors have landed online, which is said to be from a test screening held back in February. The details are said to be in response to somebody else spreading false info about the movie. Probably the same person who said that Deadpool 2 was bad. That was the original thing with Deadpool 2, is that it was originally a lot worse than it was. I don't know if we'll ever find out if it ever was or wasn't, but some people who have connections have said that it was pretty bad, and the reshoots did in fact help. Now, and keep in mind, reshoots are not always a bad thing. It's not always a dirty word. All right, so it says, now bear in mind things could have changed as it's been reported. X-Men Dark Phoenix underwent major reshoots. X-Men Dark Phoenix has a February 14, 2019 release and is directed by Simon Kinberg. You'll have to find out if that actually stays or changes. At any point in time, anything could really happen. We'll say, though, that the poster is kind of cool, even if it might only be the only cool thing about the film. So, okay, here we're full spoiler territory now. All right, so the X-Men don't go into space in the third act, and the word scroll is not said once at all. That's been a rumor for a while, because we know that when it comes to, I think, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they've dealt with the scrolls, or they talked about it a little bit. I know Captain Marvel is going to deal with the scrolls, and that's something Disney's trying to work in, and we know that the Disney-Fox merger or buyout is going to probably happen. The vote on it's actually in a couple days, and if it goes through, then they'll be bringing him over. So there was rumors that they were going to talk about the scrolls inside of X-Men Dark Phoenix as a way to bridge the gap between the MCU and what Fox is doing. Now, the guy goes on to say, I want to make sure this is clear. I'm talking about the cut of the movie that I saw. Things could still be tweaked here and there, but I do believe that some things won't change. What can't change is the movie being really underwhelming, really lower your expectations, because this one is not good. Mystique dies. They repeat moments from X3. I kid you not. Now, I actually enjoyed X-Men 3. And I'm one of the few that did, but I enjoyed the 2006 film. It says, okay, they repeat the moment between Jean and Cyclops, take off the glasses and kiss me, I can control your eyes. We see Charles pick up Jean as a child again. Jean almost kills Child again by levitating him and dissolving him. So, okay, again, X3, those are just completely ripped off of X3. Is that meant to go back and tie into those earlier films? I thought those are pretty much all retconned out after Days of Future Past. Now, Magneto does come an opposing force once again and faces off with Charles's team. It's funny because before their fight begins and Charles is trying to talk him out of it, Magneto goes, like, every time we do this, it's the same thing over and over again. Which is funny that they're kind of acknowledging the repetition between the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. That's one of those things that you figure they would probably try to work around that at this point. They did that a little bit with Apocalypse, and it worked out okay. Even though that movie was it needed a lot of work. It really needed a lot of work. It was nowhere near as good as Days of Future Past. Like nowhere near as good. Quicksilver running scene. Yes, it's when they are saving astronauts. Cool. That's the scene I'm looking forward to the most. His scenes, but both movies have been great. X-Men are like the Avengers at the beginning of the film, which feels really unearned. Okay, so at this point, everyone knows the X-Men exist. Everyone knows that the X-Men are around, and that they're basically looked at like they are heroes. Something that we haven't really seen much of yet, but we did see a little bit with Apocalypse, right? With Mystique being kind of like the beacon for that, right? Because of Days of Future Past. And I was obviously banking on Jennifer Lawrence's star power that has somewhat dwindled recently. And so killing off Mystique now, I don't know if that's necessarily the best course of action. Okay, so astronauts are at risk of dying in space due to some cosmic waves. X-Men save them, but Jean gets hit by waves. They return and she starts freaking out about her powers. So that's how the Phoenix gets unlocked. The movie begins with young Jean getting in a car crash with her two parents. At this point, after the rescue, we find out that her powers were responsible. She feels guilty for killing her mother. We find out that her dad is still alive, so she escapes the mansion, all emotional, to go find him. When Jean got hit by the cosmic rays, she spent the spaceship flying into space, and somehow it lands on an alien planet. The aliens look at the wreckage and go, fuck it, this means war. Let's go get the Phoenix Force. That's their motivation, I guess. That's pretty bad. Jean finds her dad and she gets pissed that Charles lied to her about her parents being dead, but Charles lied because her dad didn't want her anymore. When she finally realizes all this, she almost kills her dad, but the X-Men come to save her. She's really edgy at this point. So she's an edgy young woman. Not as crazy as it was with Jean Grey in X-Men 3. Jean Grey kills Mystique by accident. That's going to, that kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like, she doesn't understand her powers. She's really kind of at that boiling over point, and Mystique steps in and she ends up just eviscerating Mystique. And then Beast gets all mad because he loved her. Well, yeah. And they also had a real life relationship too. That was probably made filming X-Men, Days of Future Past and, Apocalypse a little bit on the odd side. Beast goes to find Magneto to help defeat Jean. Charles takes the rest of the team to go get Jean for the aliens, and Beast Magneto can. So Beast turns kind of evil to go and stop her. Not evil, but he probably needs help, and it's like, I'm gonna go get I'm gonna go get Eric. We're gonna go do this the right way. I can understand that being a problem. And the guy says here, the movie is so boring. I'm sorry, this isn't the best description, but the movie ends with a CGI battle, and it's not very exciting because the aliens look boring and have generic levitation powers. They do shapeshift into humans, but they look nothing like Skrulls, and the word Skrull is never said. They probably did that because the fact they don't know if that merger is going to happen. I guarantee you that word will probably be added in ADR wise. If the deal goes through. I think they're just covering their bases right now. That's what I think. There is an alien invasion, and Jean flies into space and gives up all of her powers to destroy the fleet. The end. Oh, that's it. That's her whole thing. That seems like fun. That seems kind of dumb. Okay, so X-Men Apocalypse costumes. Those costumes are completely gone. The ones from the set photos, simple black with the yellow forming an X on the upper half. These costumes only get worn twice out of the entire movie. The third act is them in civilian clothing, because they've touched upon the costumes, but they also haven't really touched upon the costumes. Jessica Chastain's character name I couldn't tell you because they don't ever say it. She's just a generic alien. The cut I saw didn't establish the name of the species or characters. Yes, they are all gray, but it could have been due to the lack of CGI. The alien effects were not even close to being finished, so we don't know anything about who she is yet. I'm sure she's going to be somebody. You don't cast Jessica Chastain in a movie like this and not give her some big character to play. So it's probably the early cut hasn't finalized all the ADR, and I don't know if the cut has also gone through the reshoots yet. So I don't know. This is, again, it's a total thing where you just, a grain of salt. So Jessica Chastain's character name's Smith. It is, I can only assume that because the name she uses as a human. So basically the aliens land close to a country house and Jessica Chastain is there as a normal human. The alien kills her and shapeshifts into her, but with bleached white hair. She then somehow steals the identity of an FBI agent with his body. That's where the word Smith comes in. So it was an Agent Smith reference. Are we going Matrix here? Come on. Storm, Nightcrawler, and Quicksilver get the least amount of screen time. Cyclops, Beast, and Charles get the most. Mystique dies halfway through, but has a decent amount of time before she dies. Well, obviously because they paid for her. I'm okay with Storm and Nightcrawler getting the least amount of time. Quicksilver needs more time all the time. You could easily drop Cyclops and bring in Quicksilver, but I liked Beast and Charles. Then again, I've been a fan since, First Class. Now the big CGI fight at the end outside the United Nations, because the aliens' plan was to get all the world leaders into one place to discuss the future of mutants by using the Phoenix as a pawn. Why would the aliens want to go discuss mutants? And I'm assuming eugenics, because they're going to probably view them as a threat, right? That's probably what they're going to do. They're going to be like, oh, these mutants, these pesky mutants, they're out here doing mutant things. We must kill them all. Oh, never mind, we're aliens that these guys are trying to protect you from. That's such a lame. I'm kind of over those kind of storylines and shit. I get the reason, but I'm also kind of just give me more isolated, small isolated stories. I feel would be better for these characters right now until they get over to Disney. So it says it literally came up last minute. Didn't make much sense. Also, the nations of the world don't legit and send their top world leaders to be in the same place at the same time. Okay, I don't know what that is. Charles and Cyclops trying not to let the aliens inside the UN meeting. Okay. The movie is just not very good when compared to modern comic book films. It's a big letdown. That sounds like it. It sounds pretty dumb. It sounds pretty. And the thing is, Simon Kinberg wrote it and directed it, and he co-wrote a bunch of movies. He's not a bad writer, but it's also like, I think he also needs a good director. This is his directing debut. And coming off of Apocalypse, it's kind of like, eh. But then Bryan Singer has been hit with the whole Me Too thing, so I kind of get that. Who does Magneto recruit? Random mutants. One looks like Slipknot from SS and uses his dreadlocks like whips and tentacles. So it's kind of like the end of X3, where it was a whole bunch of random mutants show up at the end, right? I mean, they weren't random. These were clearly mutants that were known. But at the same time, it was just kind of like, why? What? Who? The aliens in the film do shapeshift into humans, but look nothing like Skrulls. Knowing Fox, they might just call them Skrulls because fuck it. The word Skrull is also never said. Well, they're only going to call them Skrulls if the deal is going through. They don't want to tie it to Disney unless the deal is going through. Comcast coming in right now is probably why they've kept it out. The sequence of them saving the astronauts is cool. Quicksilver and Nightcrawler team up to teleport in and out of their ship. That sounds pretty cool. That looks like a lot of fun. Now, here's how the movie ends. Jean goes into space and finally gives into Phoenix Force, and it was so cheesy. She says, "I'm not Jean, I'm Phoenix." She's talking to Scott through her mind powers as she's doing it. She gives in and explodes as she wipes out all of the fleet. The movie ends with the possibility of her still being out there. But, and again, we know that Marvel, the MCU, is pushing the cosmic side of things. So if Jean is somehow floating around in space, and they do tie in X-Men to the MCU, at least through something or another, they could say, like, she's out there. They could say that she's out in, like out in space, and then recast her with somebody else. Although that probably won't happen because Disney's just going to want to recast everything. If this is where the X-Men franchise is going, I'm totally on board with Disney, or hell, even Comcast rebooting everything. Now that Wolverine's out, you know what I mean? Like, I'm done. The guy finishes up here by saying, the cut I saw was really long and not finished. It's going to be a shorter because I feel this is like way over 2 hours. Dazzler's in the movie making lights during a party scene. Genosha is like the government sanctioned land to mutants. That's what the dialogue makes it out to be. Magneto leads a group of mutants who live peacefully there. It's really dramatic, which is fine, but a lot of the drama falls flat because of the script. She only becomes Phoenix at the end, and I kid you not, she wears the same reddish coat for most of the movie. When she flies into space, she just goes on fire with the same civilian coat. Like, Fox is so scared about costumes. Toad is not in it, and Psylocke is not in it. Oh, okay, no Olivia Munn. And here's some of the screenshots. I mean, like, CG-wise, they look pretty good, right? And Jessica Chastain there as the bleach blonde Skrull. Mystique back in costume. Cinematically speaking, it looks good, right? It looks really good, but it's probably going to end up like really tanking if this is true. Here's the thing: they're releasing this on February 14th. They want a Valentine's Day. They want Black Panther money. They're not going to get Black Panther money, but they could get Logan money or Deadpool money. It could be one of those things. If this movie is like this and this is real, this is true, then I expect Fox. I expect Fox to really, really, really put out to really pump out the advertising on this one. But if this is true, this is pretty lackluster. Now, granted, all of this is going to be grain of salt. All of this is going to be take it as it is. We won't know till we see it. We still have 8 months to go until it comes out. Things can change. Who knows what Fox is planning? Who knows if the Disney deal is going to go through? But I feel like the future of the X-Men franchise entirely revolves around whether or not that deal goes through. So this movie is going to end up really being something that's going to be so heavily. It's going to be one of those things that's kind of like talking about other things, but it won't actually be connected to the other things. It's just going to be hinting in case they need to bridge that gap. So I think that's where we are right now, and I don't know. I'm just not really excited for it. I'd prefer another Logan or another Deadpool or something that feels a bit more experimental, like New Mutants is supposed to be, rather than just another big team up movie that kind of feels like it's going to fail to deliver, just like the last one did, and that's sad. That's sad. So this movie can only do better by going over to Marvel. I think we all can agree with that one. But all right, guys, what do you think about this one? Do you think it sounds good? Do you think it sounds like crap? Are you going to go see it? Are you going to hold out? Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, support the channel on Patreon, patreon.com/mundanemat, or if you just want to watch more content, and I hope you do, you can do so right now.